Welcome everybody to the weekly WP Roundup with BJ Keeton. That's me, and every week we get together and we talk about whatever we could find this week that was published about WordPress, that's news and tutorials and resources, anything like that. We want to go through and really just try to enhance your professional lives a little bit and get to know each other. Feel free to throw any comments or questions that you have in the live chat. We have a very active comment section here. I don't know if I should call it comment section, but really the chat. So we want to get to know everybody, answer anything that we can. If I can't answer it, then somebody in the audience probably can. And so I will probably get distracted by those comments at some point, being that we're live. So we'll do what we'll deal with that as we come to it. I'm on Facebook and YouTube, so we'll have comments coming in from both of them, I'm sure. And make sure that you expand the description of this video so that you see all of the links that we're talking about today. Give all the content creators who made that some love and some click-throughs so that they can keep doing what they're doing and we can keep doing this. So I hope that everyone has had an absolutely fantastic week so far. It has been a week around here. It's been not too bad, and I'm seeing there are tons of comments coming in already. I see everybody from Egypt and Norway and Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, like everywhere. We've got a very wide audience today. So I see already somebody says that we must ask about the theme builder, and I have not heard any more on that. That one is still up in the air. We're working on the Divi 4.0 marketing right now, and we will have that out, we're hoping, very soon. But as soon as I know a date on that, you guys, I will let you guys know on that one. I promise. It is a big deal. We're super excited about it, just like you guys are. So we want to get that out to you. So bear with us, and we will hit you with Divi 4.0 before you know it. Let's dig into the news that is relatively non-existent this week. I didn't see anything big, like maybe I missed it. The feeds that I check regularly, maybe I didn't notice anything big that did happen. But in terms of WordPress and tech and things like that, but what I did know, the one piece of news that I just wanted to briefly go over and point out, is that there's now a Star Wars land at Disney World in Florida. So I'm crazy stoked about this. I'm sure that there are people out there who are planning their vacations and ready to basically live Star Wars. So I'm very excited about that. So I just wanted to let you know that it opened yesterday, I believe. So it was like, I gotta mention Star Wars Land. There's no way that I couldn't. Anyway, that was the news that I saw. I just wanted to have something that I was excited about and that I cannot wait. And I can't believe that I was 2 weeks ago in Orlando before it opened. Just broke my heart that I didn't get to go. But I'm very excited about that, and I hope that you guys get a chance to visit at some point there, or the one in California. Anyway, moving on. Let's move into the tutorials and resources that we've got this week. And I wanted to start out with one of our tutorials. I usually start the tutorial section with one of Jason or Donyetta we published on the Elegant Themes blog, because they're just so good. And this week, Donyetta has a free, well, it's downloaded free when it's there, but it's a tutorial on a column swipe hero section, where it's a big hero section that is divided into columns that you can really swipe between and animate between. Like, it is really awesome. And I love hero sections. Like, they are my absolute favorite thing for any website. Like, that's where I'm going to be drawn in. That's where I want most of the information for me. So when I saw her design this one, it's just gorgeous to be able to use this one. So it shows it that it works on mobile just as well as it does on desktop, and it's just pretty. It's not just the standard put a giant hero section with this information and leave it at that. It is a sectioned off, navigable kind of hero section that I just thought was magnificent. So I wanted to give that a shout out, and then I wanted to point out next to really dig in and get into TorqueMag. It's the second one under tutorials here. TorqueMag wrote a how to retain customers online article that I think pretty much everybody here can really get behind in some way or another. And retention is really, really hard. Like, you guys know that your bounce rate is probably higher than you want it to be, because everybody's bounce rate is higher than they want it to be. And we're trying to figure out ways to both keep someone on our site when they come in, as well as keep them coming back and retaining them as a customer, instead of having them be one-off customers who then go somewhere else for whatever their needs are. You want to build that kind of customer loyalty. They suggest starting out with making sure that you have a value proposition. They try to put together things that their audiences will want, like bundles, to be able to say, okay, look, we know that we have all of this stuff, but we've put the most important stuff on together on the website as this bundle that you can get, and they will consistently check back for that. I know that I use a notebook from a company called Code and Quill, and I'm checking back occasionally to see if they ever bundle things like that together, their different notebooks. Like, the reason that I bought the notebook in the first place was because of a bundle, because of that kind of value that it got on that. So they talk about making sure that there's that. If you're a cookie person and a data and analytics person, they talk about making sure that you track your customers' behavior, that you need to check their purchases, their navigation history, you know, how they go through, and those are really, really important if you can do the customer journey and actually track through. I see on Facebook, Vikas asks to show it. Do you mean my notebook that I was talking about, Vikas? Is that what it was? If not, let me know. I'll show you the notebook. I use it a lot. It's this one. Let's see, my Divi sticker. I'm very happy about it. I use this one a bunch. It's nice. It lays flat no matter what, and has dots on this side as a grid, and then it has marked character spaces and lines on this one. Super nice. I love this thing. I got a tiny one too somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but I love this thing. But if not, I don't know what you're talking about, and I will certainly do my best to show that too. The best thing in this article that I wanted to point out is one that I've pointed out multiple times, is a loyalty program. You guys, if you run any kind of business, I really, really, really suggest that you create some sort of loyalty program for your users. This is coming up a lot lately. I'm seeing this in so many different areas. I'm seeing this in just lots of different spheres and industries that you might not even think about loyalty programs. So it's something that you really need to think about. Starbucks does it well. I mentioned that last week. Just this morning, I went and bought a protein shake at a place that we have downtown, and made sure to get my my card punched. It's not much of a value proposition. I mean, I have to spend more money than it takes to build it up, but it's something. It makes me keep going back there instead of just you know, doing it myself at home or something like that. That kind of thing makes me that kind of thing makes me go back. Your customers will too. Whatever it is, do something to make them want to come back. And loyalty programs, you know, if you just tell them you spend $100 here on your next purchase, send them an email after that. Your loyalty program can be that after they make a purchase from you, you automatically send them a coupon for their next purchase on there. that has a time limit on it. That's a loyalty program because every time they buy something from you, they get a discount on the next one. It's very, very handy. They talk about providing robust customer support. That's one of our kind of value adds, that value proposition that we want to put on there, because we want to be reachable. We want to be able to help you as much as we possibly can. We're working on different ways to do that. Like we've got the new back-end system where we can connect directly into your admin panel and see what's wrong and diagnose on your servers. Just stuff like that. Like we really want different kinds of customer support to be able to help you. And then they also talk about using a subscription-based business model, which is always good. I mean, there's pros and cons to it. There's a positive and a negative side of subscription-based models. Like Patreon was saying at an event that I was at a couple of weeks ago at Podcast Movement at one of their panels, they said that the average membership length of like a monthly membership is 3 months. That most people bounce after 3 months. So if you're doing it monthly, you have to plan for that kind of churn. If you're doing it annually, you have to make sure that people are going to get the right kind of service for their annual subscription. Or you can offer a lifetime subscription like ours, and as well as an annual membership that you can re-up. So I mean, those are really, really positive ways to do it. The downside to that is if you do it, say, monthly, as a consumer, people might not like the auto charge and have, like gym memberships tend to do. People get charged when they're not using it. And you might have a lot more customer support from something like that and having to deal with people who got charged, didn't realize that they were still subscribed, that kind of thing. That will happen. It's that kind of thing happens a lot. I see on Facebook that Vikas asked, I saw many websites in Divi, and I really wish to use it, but it's a little expensive for me, but I like its design and plugins. Thank you, Vikas. One thing that we have all the time, I believe, if you go to the Elegant Themes website and scroll to the bottom of the /Divi page, I think there's a 10% discount on there. I think that's there right now. And the on Black Friday, if you can wait until then, we will have a 25% off discount on Black Friday, where that is our biggest annual sale, and there will never be a bigger sale than that I know of. We have not done a bigger discount than that. So if you want to wait until the end of November, we do a 2-week sale that is full of things and as a 25 full of rewards and things like that based on when you buy it, and then have giveaways and things with a 25% off discount code then. The other way to do it is with that, if you do the 25% off or not, we do have the annual memberships where if the lifetime membership is a little bit out of your price range, even with the 25, maybe the annual wouldn't be, or the annual with the discount maybe more approachable, I guess, more affordable to be able to do. I understand the trying to spread out your membership costs and licenses and things like that. I think that personally the lifetime membership, and this isn't even me shilling for the company here, I really think that the lifetime membership is fantastic just because of knowing how much I use Divi and how often it's one of those things that we can use and make money and make that money back. It's that. I wish that I could give it to you for free. I wish I was expecting it free. I wish that I could do that. That is well above my pay grade. So I apologize for that. But this is a good thing. That subscription-based business models do work and they retain customers, especially if you do things to where you can get much more value out of it as a customer. If you can continually add things for your customers to get value out of it. so that was I liked that article about just retaining customers, because we talk about ways to get them to your site. And when you talk about ways to keep them, like when they've abandoned their cart on your site or something like that. But just actually retaining them as brand customers is something that's not necessarily talked about a lot. I know that there are brands that I am a fan of that I go to over and over again because I see them and interact with them on the internet, like on Twitter, with their accounts and their people, like their customer support or their social media department, because I have a rapport with them. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to use that product and go back to them. So there are a lot of different ways to retain those kinds of customers online. It just depends on what your business is. I mean, think about it from a web design perspective. Like, a lot of you guys are designers. How many clients do you have who you have had one interaction with, like one contract with, and not worked with them anymore? I'm sure there are a few. I mean, you have returning customers, yeah. But do you have a way to bring them back to you, to make them want to work with you again? Have you thought about emailing a list of people or calling a list of people who you've worked with before and said, hey, just wanted to see how everything was going from you. Hope the website is doing well. Hope this design project that we worked with you on is doing really well. Just wanted to let you know we're having a thing right now for returning customers where you can get 20% off your entire contract of our base prices of whatever it is for the next thing through, September 30th. Since we worked with you before, we wanted to let you know about it. Things like that will bring people back in. That will retain them, will make them be not a client, or won't let them be just a customer. It will turn them into a client, which is very important. And that's retention right there, reaching out and just trying. It's a loyalty program. Tell them if they get referrals, for every referral, they get an extra 5% off their next thing. That's a great way to get people to work with you and recommend you, because y'all know that word of mouth is the best way to get business and keep recurring business. So it's something to think about. So thinking about that is good. Then there's one under... Actually, I see a comment before I get into that. I see a couple. Vocal Out says, nothing better than the lifetime when you pay once and get it forever and be able to use it multiple times, just in terms of a lifetime membership. I agree. And remember that you can create, for those of you who out there who are lifetime members or even annual members, just members, we have a thing in the members area where you can create more than one API key and label it who it is now, so that you can use it for different clients and track those, as well as disable those with clients who may not need access to that anymore. So it's something that we added the labeling feature fairly recently, and just want you guys to remember that you can make more than one to really get the use out of your membership. And Daryl says, oh sure, show off the swag. How about this unused Divi sticker, Daryl? How about that? I don't want to use it. Like, I have it and I need to put it on something, but I don't want to use my last Divi sticker because then I won't have any extra Divi stickers. So that's for you, Daryl. And then John on Facebook says, when can we expect the header, footer, theme builder, and the WooCommerce customization? I don't know. I know I hate to say that, but I haven't heard anything this week about release dates. I'm hoping that the WooCommerce one is coming soon. The last I heard, knock on wood, no official thing here. The last I heard was that WooCommerce was the next one out. It may have shifted since I saw a list at that point, but we're hoping to get that one out soon. And then the header and footer, the theme builder is going to be Divi 4.0, and we're working on the marketing plan for that release. And that one we will let you know as soon as we have a launch date for that. I will let you guys know about it. but I just don't have it right now. We don't have that set in stone, but we're looking at it being very soon. I see Daryl says he has a spot on his laptop waiting for this sticker. I think I do too, but I don't want to put it there. And I see Uncle Social says the sooner you buy a lifetime membership, the longer it lasts, which is true. And if you're immortal, like you said, it is an amazing value. So just think, you could never not have Divi, which is something to think. Something right here. We appreciate that. And then JL Web Creative says, how about when you subscribe to the yearly membership for 3 years, you get a lifetime membership for free? No, I thought not, with a frowny face. One thing I know that we do have, JL, is if you have an annual membership and you've paid for it, I am 90% certain that our sales team counts that toward a lifetime membership for that year. So if you upgrade that year, I think that's how it's done. I know I've heard them talk about that before. Don't hold me to it because I'm not a sales team person, but I thought that was the way it was done at Black Friday last year, maybe. So may get in trouble for that one if that's not. But that's what I remember. So it's worth talking to the sales team for. I'm not sure though. Vikas asks, any chance to see apps for WooCommerce or normal websites with Divi? We're going to have WooCommerce update soon with WooCommerce modules where you'll be able to update those. And then, what do you mean normal websites for Divi? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. That one I'm a little confused on because we may be thinking of different things for normal websites. Static websites, like how do you want to use it for that? Just let me know, and I'll move on and get back to that one. A little bit lower into the tutorial section is just a Velocitize article called "Not Your Parents' Internet: Reaching Gen Z." I talk about this all the time, and it's super important. I'm not going to linger on this one, but I want to point out for those of you who come in, who are not regulars or have come in and missed this one or missed that episode. Generation Z is a huge marketing target right now. They're a huge demographic, and by the end of 2020, Velocitize says they are going to be the largest generation of consumers. So we need to adjust our sales and the way that we approach our marketing for all of our projects and clients to include them more, which generally means that you need to be on the services that they're on, that if they're on Instagram, you need to be on Instagram, which kills me because I'm not good at Instagram. That authenticity is key. They really care about that candor between brand and customer, that they don't want to, have those weasel words thrown at them. They don't want you to be a really weaselly kind of, just beating around the bush kind of person. They want you to be straightforward and honest. The content that you produce needs to teach something while it entertains, which is actually in our content handbook that we have a section that says that we need to do our best to make our technical content as entertaining as we can because tech content is dry a lot of times. Like if you read the Mozilla Developers Network, the MDN documentation, it's very dry. It's super useful. It's one of my favorite places on the internet, but it's dry. So we try to be the place that that makes it more accessible, so that you can be entertained while you read it, at least entertained enough. And so it's something that Generation Z really cares about. Like they use Warby Parker, a company they put that started exclusively as an online experience, now has a growing list of retail locations. That's the wrong one. That's for creating a seamless shopping experience. That they say that, where is it now? Generation Z is the first generation that overwhelmingly prefers information over entertainment, but 26% choose entertainment over information. So they want content that basically merges the two so that they're not bored to death while they're learning something, but they do love learning things. So that's why content creation is so important right now, because if you start right now, you're going to have a really good archive by the end of 2020 as they hit the peak of the ones we're wanting to market to. So just that's a really good article. I love Velocitize. Their stuff is always good. So so yes. Sorry, there were a couple I wanted to make sure that I got to and had to find them. I don't know if you guys read or pay attention to Divi Booster. I really like DiviBooster.com and the tutorials that they do. They do interesting things with CSS a lot of times for you to do things with Divi, obviously, so that you can do things that are generally outside of what most people may want to do, or that you may not have a need to do very often, that it might be a one-off thing that a client might want, but it's something that that you may need to know how. Like this one is hiding menu items from the mobile menu. Like, there are reasons and times when you may not want to put specific menu elements on your mobile site. That the site may only be desktop. You may have something specifically content for desktop users that wouldn't affect mobile users. Whatever it is, they give you the CSS and media query to completely display none on that one particular element, and they show you how to use the CSS classes box on the WordPress builder on the screen options. So it's really good to do that. Like, I like that they do stuff like this that's a little bit out of the box. They also have one that is just below it on making the Divi theme options header sticky. And I'm seeing, before I get into that, I'm seeing people say that my video is stuttering, and I do not know why. It's green on there. Health is good there. I do not know, you guys. I'm sorry. I am very sorry. I've been having a lot of trouble with power lately. I don't know if something I need to do it. Like, my power was out all day yesterday. It was not fun. And I can't see. Uncle Social asked, I don't think it's connection related. Is it something eating your CPU? Right now, the live streaming is. Nothing else is. I will try to close down anything that is extraneous here and see, because it is using more than I prefer, but not, I don't really have anything that's open. That's usually not when I do this. So we will see. Close down a couple of things that I don't need for this moment. So we will see how that goes. I apologize to you guys for the stuttering video. That is not something that I ever want to happen for you guys. Working on that right now. Hopefully it'll clear up if there's any CPU being taken extra, which is not showing that it's really being eaten right now. But I did want to point out the other Divi Booster post that's under the tutorials, that's make the Divi theme options header sticky. And now this one is very specific. This is the Divi theme options in your settings. Like, this is in your admin dashboard, the purple Divi theme options that has general, navigation, builder, layout, ads, SEO, integration, updates. Like, that is the one that you as an admin see. And so you may not, you're probably the kind of person who doesn't necessarily need to make this sticky. But when I saw this, I got really, really excited. Because the reason that they give this, that they put this up there, and they give the classes that you need to make it sticky, and the selectors that you need, is because if you're a tutorial writer, if your content uses any of the Divi backend to show people how to do stuff, It is so nice to have that sticky so that you can consistently take screenshots of it. That has been one of the pain points that I've had, is I've had to merge images together when doing tutorials, specifically because I wanted to have that menu bar in there to show people, and I couldn't get it because it stayed up here, and it was just a scrolling box like normal. It was just a scroll page. But this one, you know, has it sticky and everything else moving, and it was great. And I'm happy that this exists now so that I can put it on my sites and use for my job. So I see that I assume rather, that there are other people out there who have to do this as well, who may just need that as a one-off thing for something that you do. But I'm very, very, very happy that Divi Booster put that out, because I'd never thought about even searching around for the selectors for it. But apparently it is an ID hashtag of ePanel-main menu and ePanel header, ePanel-header, where those are the ones that you'll be making sticky and putting the position and things like that. Really cool. Never thought about that one, so I want to thank Divi Booster for doing that. There is I'm just going to briefly go through some of the ones that are on here. The Torque Mag did an ARIA markup beginner's guide, because ARIA is really, really important for accessibility. That if you have any percentage of people with any kind of impairment or disability on your site who needs any kind of accessibility, ARIA is the way to do it, and TorqueMag has a really good beginner's guide to that. Code in WP has a Microinteractions tutorial, which I think is pretty cool, that they show you how to make your own interactive like button with CSS and JavaScript. So, like, they show you how to make it so that when they click a like button, that it's not just highlighting it as a color, where they have different ways of having it animate. This is, I was looking at it on the screen in the link, and it has different thumbs up buttons, like images coming off of it. So this is what the animation was in my head. So I was showing that to you guys, and it didn't make any sense to you because you weren't looking at it probably. But if you click into that one, it tells you about a really good micro interaction that you can do, because these micro interactions are increasingly becoming more commonplace, and they're increasingly becoming, I don't want to say reasons people use your site, but markers for your site that it's a high quality website, that you've put the time in it to make it fun to use. They add nothing but frivolous, I don't even want to say meaningless interactions, but they serve no function other than to be interactive. But that means to the user that that you consider them enough to care about their experience there, even if it doesn't have any utility. I guess is the way that I would put it. But that one is really, really cool. I did an article this past week called "How to Get Free Stuff as a Content Creator." And I say but I want to give a shout out to this one. The reason I included this one is because our video guy, our new video specialist, well, he's not new anymore, our teammate Matt Philly, who does a lot of our YouTube stuff now alongside Mac, has been a content for years. He is fantastic at it, and which is why we hired him, because he's great at it. But I asked him on some tips, to collaborate on this article on how to get free stuff as a content creator, because the stuff that he has gotten is insane from different companies. And he came back and had basically written a manifesto on things that he has done to do it, and that for tips for you guys. And so I really wanted to give him a shout out to this, that you guys should read this article, because so much of this came from Matt, that the second half of the article really is 8 points that he had to go through the article and go through the process of getting free stuff. One of the comments, Randy is one of our freelancers who does stuff. He's talked about how sometimes it's not so much free because you put in more time to do the reviews or whatever than you would actually do the work to pay for the item. That's true, but in the long run, it comes with returns. And I just wanted to thank Matt personally on air for the collaboration on this one, the wonderful tips, and then to point it out to you guys so that you could check it out and hopefully get some free stuff because that's it's always nice to get free stuff. I mean, what else can you say? At Casabona, I'm never going to be able to say it. Casabona.org, Casabona, Joe Casabona, Casabona. He has done a start a podcast for less than $100 article, which, if you're thinking about it, to start a podcast, you don't want to make a big investment, this is a pretty good place to start. I don't necessarily like or agree with everything that he has on here, but they're all well worth checking out. Mainly because he talks about one of the things that I personally disagree with is using Skype as a recording software. I do not like using Skype as recording software or even communication software. I will use something like Zencastr or Squadcast to do that well before I'll use Skype. They're free and you can use them, and it's just a better experience overall. Zencastr is free, and there's a free trial of Squadcast. Let me put it that way. Audacity is great, and he also talks about the free podcast hosting on Podbean, which is awesome. I'm going to be doing a review on Podbean coming up pretty soon. They're really, really, really good. It's a great podcast host. It may not want to be where you go if you're looking specifically for free hosting, because there's a time limit on your media there. But if you're willing to pay like $5 a month on there, then at least $5, then it cuts the hosting time limit off, so it's unlimited because it's premium. So that's the reason that I disagreed with that one. I would say if you're going for wholly free, use Launchpad DM or Anchor, just because there's no time limit on it, and podcasts kind of tend to be evergreen. But if you're going for a cheap, affordable, let me not even say cheap, an affordable, like highly functioning, highly featured podcast host, then Podbean is an excellent choice. The free one is the reason that I differentiate the two there, and never SoundCloud. Don't use SoundCloud as a podcast host. It's not a podcast host. It's a media host, and don't. But he's got some other stuff on there that is great that you guys should do. A really affordable $65 microphone where you don't have to be out of a lot of money, over $100 for it. But it's but if that's something that you need, $65 is not very bad for a microphone at all, for a quality microphone. I see Uncle Social pointed out here. So BJ got free stuff / a free article written for him by Matt, the ultimate hustler. And then Daryl says, for those of you who are not here, being able to see it, I wonder if Uncle Social, I wonder if that's part of the article. And you guys, I didn't even think about that. That of all the things that I edited and put into that article and worked on, never even thought about getting that. This is where the comments are in my hand. Did not think about getting that for free. And it's I'm gonna have to. That just makes me so happy that I never crossed my mind about that. That I got that content for free to do that. But like Randy said, sometimes it takes more time to do it. Like I love that. I spent time working it into the article though. Which I don't know if that would have been more time than writing it, straight out or whatever. But I do know that it came out as a better article than if I'd done that alone. So while it may have cost more time overall, And I don't know that it did, but just saying that if it did, it's a better article because of the collaboration by far, so it's still worth getting the free stuff. But I did not, you guys, I did not think about that as being getting free stuff. So that's awesome. Thank you guys for pointing that out to me. I'm going to move on from the tutorials into the resources. Now, for those of you who are not usual viewers, for those of you who just tuned in, the way that we tend to do it is break it down into the 3 sections of news, tutorials, and resources, where the news generally is, news, and then the tutorials are different levels of WordPress and content creation and design expertise. And then the resources are what I would just like to share on Twitter. Like, these are the things that you want to send to your friends. Be like, oh, hey, this is really cool. You might get some use out of this. That kind of thing. And so the first one under the resources this week is, why is WordPress free? Who pays for it, and how much does it cost? Because WordPress isn't free, y'all. Y'all know it's not free. You guys are the prime candidates to speak of why WordPress isn't free. Because you're designers who make money off of WordPress from people using WordPress. You're developers who develop tools that people pay for to use WordPress. I work for a company who makes a membership to a premium theme that you guys pay for to use with WordPress. Like Biova, sorry if I mispronounced that, who says, I like Divi. It's like, I'm great. That's great. I like you too. And it's that kind of thing. It's like, but y'all have paid for something for WordPress. Now, here's the thing. WordPress itself, if you are setting up your very own WordPress installation, absolutely, to you, it is free. You download it, you install it on a development server or your local server, however it is, you set it up. If you use WordPress.com, it's free. You set it up and you give your email. That's a payment some people don't want to do sometimes, but you give your email, you sign up, you have your information out there, and you have your free website. But here's the thing, and this is the article that they bring up, but I still have to spend money to use it, right? The answer is yes. Of course you do. Everybody generally has to pay for WordPress in some way or another. And I've had this discussion recently with somebody who didn't want to really pay. And so, which is fine. So they set up a Wix site, which I am very much against. And the reason that I'm very much against it is not because of Wix necessarily being a bad choice. It's that I don't think you get enough from Wix for the trouble that you have with the builder. And the way that they have everything put together. So I offered to put WordPress together for them. I put hosted the site on my plan, did everything that I could. And so I'm the one fronting that cost, but to them it's free. I talked to people at Podcast Movement who were looking at different ways, looking at free hosts and things like that. Like, what's the trade-off here for the reason that it's free? Generally, if people ask you what their costs are going to be, you can tell them about hosting costs. Most hosting that you pay like $4 a month for isn't going to be worth hosting on if they're doing anything. If they're doing anything worth using that website for. That's not necessarily wrong to use that. It's just depending on the kind of website. You also may spend hundreds of dollars on that every month because you're using it, even though it's free. It talks about what free software means, though. Why is it free? It talks about GPL, and it's the GPL license of what it is. That GPL has changed a bit. GPL started in 1989. Version 2, they say, started in 1991. And then version 3 came out in 2007. Basically, you can run the software for any purpose. This is the whole GPL licensing thing. You can run the software for any purpose. You can study how the software works through open access to its source code and change it however you want. You can download WordPress and do whatever you want to the core files, and no one can say anything to you. You can redistribute copies of the software to anyone without any restrictions. Which, I mean, technically means you can sell them. I mean, that's what GPL is, without any restrictions. Means you don't have to just give it away for free like Creative Commons and things like that. Like, you can charge for it. If you wanted to set up a selling WordPress business, you can. And then modify the software and redistribute the modified software to anyone. Which is, again, fine. There's a fork of WordPress called Classic Press that does just that. Now, this also means that what this brought up that but everything that you make that's built off of there, according to WordPress, has to be GPL licensed as well. So you can't make anything that's really proprietary out of it. You can do whatever you want with it, but at the end of the day, that one is has to be, like plugins and things like that, to be listed in the repository and stuff, have to be GPL compliant. Now, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Y'all asked me last week about the photos that we do at Elegant Themes. You guys, because we were talking about that, like if you download a layout pack, if you download anything on any of the photo packs, they are completely royalty free. They are free to use for commercial projects that you have. You can download them in bulk on any of our layout blogs. You automatically import them when you install a layout pack. So all of these photos that we do in-house, that not we as in me, but we as in our photographer Joy and design team work on and do, they're free to use in any way that you want. I asked last week after you guys had, after I'd gotten offline here, and they are GPL licensed, that you guys have basically free run to do what you want with them. You can, so whatever you want to do with those photos, do it, because of the way that we license them. I asked Raquel, I told y'all that I was going to, that she may know, and she certainly did, that the photos are GPL licensed, so whatever y'all want to do with them, have fun with them. So that's a good article. I like that one. It goes into way more depth than I'm able to here, but it's really, really, really worth reading. WP Newsify did a resource on 10 must-have apps for tracking your competitors. This is basically invaluable, that if you don't use some or all of these, then you are leaving money on the table. You need to find out where you stand with your competitors. The number one that they talk about is Google Alerts. Every time any specified keyword appears on the internet and is indexed by Google's search engine. In other words, it saves you the time and effort of manually Googling for data and looking for news related to your competition. Or yourself. Your brand does this. My wife has Google Alerts set up for her library's name. I have Google Alerts set up for my name because I am narcissistic and egotistical. And the first time that I got one through, Jennifer was like, "What's that email?" I was like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "It's a Google Alert." And she was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's a Google Alert for me." Like this. And she was like, "You have a Google Alert set up for your own name?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." Because I'm that guy. But it's a really, really good way to find out what your competition is doing. If you are running Susie's Design Shop and your main competition is Design Shop Pros XL, then put a Google alert out for their name and the keywords that you're competing with them for, so that you can find out what you can do to up your game. Competition makes people up their game. And it searches a lot of the web. It's not just getting the first page of Google results. Like, I get stuff for my name for the novels that I've written where they're being pirated on all these weird torrent sites. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. People or who are downloading it off of that website, certainly not going to go to Amazon and give me $6. So I'm not worried about that kind of stuff, but I know it's there, I know what's happening, and I stay aware, which is what you guys will be able to do with your competition as well, is why they bring it up. They talk about one called SimilarWeb, which I'm not familiar with, but I want to check that out. It's a fun and cool app, as they put it, that allows you to find out just how much of a competition. If a website is indexed by SimilarWeb and has a significant number of visitors, you'll be able to get pretty detailed info, who visited from what country, industry, different things like that. Madalena says that she's setting up Google Alerts for her pen names right now. Do it. Absolutely, Madalena. I suggest really doing it. And depending on how spellings and things like that work, if you have any major alterations, because it catches mine for just like BJ or B.J. It catches both of those because, Google. But yeah, absolutely. If you haven't got them for your pen names, you'll get a lot of alerts for that, just to see what people are talking about. If you get a review, when somebody's reviewed my book that's not on like Amazon, it's like, oh, cool, that's awesome. Somebody decided to do a blog about it that I would not have known about earlier. So otherwise, I see Uncle Social says, Google Alerts is great, and I've been using it for years. Sometimes the alerts do include spammy and black hat SEO sites that have been hijacked, or that have hijacked the keyword you search for. But that can be interesting too, to see how people are manipulating Google. And it's absolutely true. That's a really good point on being able to see what people are doing that you're fighting against, so that you can fight the good fight. Really good point. The one that I use the most is SEMrush, that you can check out so many things, like what the organic search is for any URL, like what the number of people who land on what site with their search intent. Like, SEMrush is top notch. Monitor backlinks is a very similar one to Google Alerts. Newsly, which is apparently, I'm very confused on how they phrased this one. Okay. LinkedIn's service, Your Connections in the News, was previously known as Newsly. There, I was just like, my brain could not parse that. It's a free and convenient web tool allowing you to track people important to your industry and business. That's super important. If you guys want to know what Nick Roach is doing at any given time, and he's your competition, he's not. He's your friend. That kind of thing is very important. The Infinigraph is a new one to me. It tracks what's trending on social media. I know that Uncle Social has mentioned in the past of using social media to gauge where he creates different graphics to really put that kind of join in the conversation and get branded stuff out there, that you can really throw stuff together very quickly. And there's one called Spy on Web that I've never heard of, that will show you all related IP addresses and links to your competitor. There's obviously Alexa, which is not Amazon's Alexa, but Alexa ranking, to show you who the most linked to sites are on the internet. BuzzSumo is, I heard a lot about BuzzSumo at Podcast Movement. And I need to check it out because I've never used it personally, but I know that a lot of people swear by it. Like JL Web Creative's like, yep, SEMrush rocks. I think the same thing. SEMrush does rock so much. So I really like it. It shows rankings between like Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest engagements. And then, interestingly enough, the last one on here, the last thing that I'll really be able to get to on this stream, because we're out of time, is Feedly. It is tracking the competitors' comments or content in a different way, where you can check out and see who is subscribing to your competitors, how much they're ranking just in terms of people looking at their content via RSS and that kind of stuff. It's very useful for that. I've also used Bloglovin for that, for when I'm looking at smaller niches, where I'm looking at things that might not be, industry trending, but they are, micro niches. I've used Bloglovin for that. and Feedly as well. Looking at stuff like that, when you search by topic and keyword alerts and doing that, you'll see how many people are actively engaging with that content. And I'm on Feedly constantly doing stuff for this site, this show, and others. So it's a really good one to do. And Uncle Social mentions here, Mention.com is a paid alternative to Google Alert that's really worth a look at, but the price escalates fast, but it does have a free version. That's one I have not heard of at all. Mention.com. Putting it in a new tab, as I say every week when I find something new and cool. That's one I've not used at all, but obviously I love me some Google Alerts. So hopefully you guys will get some use out of those as well, because tracking your competition is incredibly important, because you want to know where they are and what you can do to aspire, what you can do better to either beat them or continue to be ahead. Also, keep in mind that competition is really healthy. That just because you're in competition with someone doesn't mean that you have to not be their friend, that you can't collaborate, that you can't work together on some of these things, that a rising tide lifts all boats, as Nathan here at Elegant Themes says a lot, and it's absolutely true. The better one person can do and help another, the better they'll do to help another, and that's the way this community works. That's the way Divi works. That's the way that the Divi Nation works, is that we're here for each other. So even in your industry, reaching out to a competitor for a partnership based on things that you do when you're tracking them can be a really good idea and a very healthy way to enhance both of your businesses. So there are a lot more resources on here I didn't get to, like some Figma tips that will really help you out if you're a designer, what all successful blogs have in common, a modern WordPress versus Blogger, which one works best for you, why your store's FAQ page is more important than you think, from WooCommerce. Good stuff. So I really want to thank you guys also for coming out today. Thank you for tuning in. I apologize about the stuttering video. I will check that out, and even though after closing things my CPU usage did not go down, so I apologize for that. I'll figure that out. You guys, I hope that you have a magnificent week, a great weekend, all the fun. Have a wonderful long holiday to everybody out there who gets one. And I really, really hope that you find some useful stuff in the links. Make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell on YouTube. Make sure that you ring the bell, because it will not tell you when we go live otherwise. And on Facebook, even if you like the page, you have to tell it that you want to get updates about when we go live as well. We do live streams on Monday mornings at 6 a.m. Eastern when we have a new feature release the week before. Mac will walk you through that and answer questions. And then every Tuesday, we go through a live use case with Divi with Jason or Donyetta to show you how to use Divi in a real-world situation. So that is also at 3 p.m. So I will be back next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time to talk with you guys, and hopefully learn a lot with you. Y'all have a good week. Bye, everybody.